Well, hello, you highlighting hellraisers. Welcome to today's video. It is the next installation of my series, Why Come No One Told Me That, where I go over the basics of different makeup and skincare things. Today we're going to be talking about highlighting, specifically highlighting with shimmer products. I personally, as an artiste, like to separate highlighting into two categories. Highlighting with shimmery products and highlighting using concealer and or foundation to adjust the value of your base application, like the lightness or darkness. There's going to be a part 2 coming hopefully later this week where we break down how to highlight by changing structure with your concealer or whatever your weapon of choice is. Before we get all down and dirty, I have one PSA. I am passionate about teaching the rules of makeup so that you can be empowered to break them however you choose. I want you to understand that doing X will equal Y so that you can choose to ignore that completely if you want to. I want you to have choices. I don't want you to feel like now you have to follow these rules. It's like jazz music. You learn the rules so you can break them with your improv. So if you want to apply your highlight like this, to go to the post office, do that. Oh my God, please do that. I'm so serious. Life is so short. You're gonna die. We're all gonna die. So if it makes you happy to cover yourself in glitter, cover yourself in glitter. And if at any point I make you feel like that's the wrong choice, you can tell me to suck a dick. And I probably won't literally do that because I'm kind of over it right now, but you get the idea. So if you're new here, welcome. And in this series, I tend to talk for a little while and then do a demo because what I have found is that for the most part, with a few exceptions, the actual application of makeup to your face is the easiest part. It's not super complicated. What's complicated is that there's a bunch of things that maybe no one told you. And why come they not told you that? So I'm gonna told you stuff and then show you stuff. Let's start now. So what is highlighting and what is its purpose? I think there are two parts to that answer. The first would be to enhance and maybe subtly manipulate the structure of your face. So to make your cheekbones look more pronounced, make your jawline more chiseled, to make your nose look more slender, whatever you're, trying to do. And the second is to adjust the finish of your complexion. So to add some luminosity, some radiance, some healthy glow. Is there overlap between those two things? Absolutely. So let's talk textures. When it comes to shimmer highlights, you've got three options: powders, creams, and liquids. All of these formulations come in a range of densities from very sheer application to extremely intense strobe disco ball status, and have a variety of finishes. You can find highlights that are more sparkly, that are more sheen based. I'm going to show examples of those two things on my face when we do our demo. And what you choose really depends on your skin type and what effect you're going for, as well as just your personal preferences and what types of products you feel most comfortable using. So if you use a powder foundation or you feel more comfortable with powders, then you go ahead and stay right in that lane. And if you like creams, maybe you've got drier skin or you just like how they appear more natural than skin-like, then go forth and cream it up. I don't like how that sounds. This feels like a good place to also address the statement people make that more mature skin shouldn't wear shimmer products. I actually just wholly reject that entire notion. I think it is just a dated, ageist, sexist, stupid thing that I hate. I've been a makeup artist for a long time and I don't think that shimmer enhances texture from mature skin. I actually think that matte looks drier and less healthy. And also, as I said in the beginning of the video, if you want to be shimmery and you want to have glitter on you, do it. And don't listen to people that tell you not to do it, because what a trivial and stupid thing to try to micromanage for people. I think that advice comes from the inferior formulations of the past when shimmer was thought of as like glitter. Again, if you want to wear glitter and you have mature skin, then like power to you. I think that if people feel confident in what they're doing, it looks good. But when it comes to the specific concern of a shimmer enhancing texture, that I think is more geared towards when things were pretty sparkly. But if you use a product that has a nice sheen and finely milled shimmer, I think it looks good. And I think it has, if anything, more of a blurring effect. Like a luminous foundation is what I grab when I work with mature clients. I also hate that terminology. We need to think of something better. How about just clients? So my personal opinion when it comes to the textures is I do prefer creams over liquids and powders. That might be obvious from the fact that my company makes cream highlights, and so I seem biased. I probably am. But in this chicken and egg situation, my love of creams came before my production of creams. Production of creams also sounds weird. I'm sorry. I prefer them over powders because I think that they look more natural. I think there are a lot of shitty cream formulations on the market that aren't that user friendly, and so sometimes people are scared of like, oh, it's going to be greasy or something. Doesn't have to be. Mine are certainly not, and there are plenty on the market that are good as well. I prefer creams over liquids just because I find them more reliable. Liquid formulations can vary a lot and be more volatile, so some of them like set and dry a little bit, and then that can be weird when layering. Some of them just don't mesh that well with different foundation types, whereas like a cream is a cream is a cream. It's pretty much going to stay the way it is and be the way it is, and I like that dependency because I'm an earth sign. Liquids are chaotic. Liquids are Scorpio to me, which means I am attracted to them sometimes, but like I probably shouldn't be. So once you have figured out what texture and finish you want, maybe you want something that's more sparkly and has kind of an effect to it, or you want something that's more of a shimmer that's going to look more natural. Figure out what it is you like in your heart. The next thing you're going to think about is your color choice. So the lighter something is from your skin tone, the more dramatic it's going to be, and the more it's going to step over into that category of color highlighting and actually like enhancing part of your face. The closer a highlight is to your skin tone, the more natural it's going to look, and the more it's going to be just adjusting the finish of your skin, making you look radiant and not necessarily influencing the way your bone structure looks. Highlights work in two different ways that are relevant to this. So things that are lighter appear to come forward to people's eyeballs, and things that are shimmery and light reflective also appear to come forward and be closer to you. So if you're using color highlighting, then by using like a lighter concealer, that area appears to be forward more. If you're using something light reflective, that area appears to be forward more. So no matter what, if you're using something light reflective, then yes, it's going to be bringing that area up a little bit. But if it's only doing it with its light reflection, then it's going to be less than if something is both light reflective and lighter than your skin. That's like bam. And anytime something is bam in makeup, it looks less natural. Less natural does not mean bad, because if you like to have your makeup not look natural, that's fucking fine. But if you do only feel comfortable with natural makeup, it's something to keep in mind. Maybe gravitate towards highlighters that are closer to your skin tone. You're welcome to experiment with different tones of highlight. Sometimes they're like kind of pink and rose gold. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 all right, I'm now going to go back in time, and I'm going to do this demo of these two different highlight methods that I did. And I will see you in a second when we're there. Okay, so I wanted to illustrate two sort of directions that you can take this. So on this side of the face, I'm going to use the Fenty Diamond Balm, which is a powder and has more of a sparkly finish. And then on this side of my face, I'm going to use the Salt New York Radiant Cream Tints, which are creams and have more of a shimmer slash sheen. So you get to see the shimmer sheen versus sparkle shimmer, as well as the application techniques for a powder versus a cream. So let's talk placement. Bretman Rock, aka Bretman the Science Bitch, 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 Bretman the Science Bitch, whom I love so much, actually just posted a perfect comparison photo to illustrate the reason why I separate shimmer highlighting from color highlighting. It's these two driver's license photos, and he made a joke about skipping highlight when you get your picture taken for your license. And what this shows is really just that shimmer highlight can be a lot when it's put throughout the center of your face, especially if your picture is going to be getting taken. So when you're using a shimmer highlight, I kind of think there's like a primary placement and then a secondary placement. Your primary placement is going to be along your cheekbone. This is an area where it's not going to appear like sweat, which can happen when you put it through the center of your face. And it's also a relatively forgiving space as far as like you can kind of play there. You can do fun things with blush. You can do a little more dramatic things with highlight, and it doesn't read in a way that's weird. And for the most part, people like the appearance of pronounced cheekbones. And obviously by applying the highlight to the cheekbone, you're going to be bringing emphasis there and making them appear more I was gonna say robust. That works probably. Secondary placements, you can also apply it in the brow area. Brows are pretty, adding some emphasis there is nice. It's also one of those areas that just kind of adds some luminosity but doesn't seem crazy. Inner corners of the eyes can have like a brightening effect. You can do that with your eyeshadow or you can do that with highlight. And then the Cupid's bow in center of the bottom lip can make your lips look fuller and kind of tie together that illuminating effect you're going for. The next thing you want to think about is your tools, and that really depends on the formula texture that you're using. So I think that for powders, brushes are your best bet. The softer and more flexible the bristles, the lighter application you're going to get. And with denser bristles, you're going to get a stronger application. When it comes to the size of your brush, it really depends on what area you're highlighting. So two kind of common things you're going to see would be like a fan brush and then like a tapered denser brush. I would use a fan brush like this because it's got soft, flexible, long bristles. Longer bristles typically means they're going to be more flexible because they don't have that like stout quality. And it's got this nice long but narrow shape. So if I wanted to quickly highlight the cheekbone and brow area, this is going to work really well for that, especially if I don't want to pack on a ton of product because it can be precise, but also it's covering a long area. So it's like shoop, 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 and you could be done already. Something like this is going to pack on more color because it is a little denser and obviously cover a wider, rounder area. So it's really just up to you what shapes you see, what you like, what you are trying to cover. And then if you're going for a smaller area, then I usually like various concealer or eyeshadow brushes. I'm actually going to go ahead and apply the powder highlight to this side now, and then I'll get into the tools for creams when I do this side of the face. So for any makeup product that's being layered with other things, I always say like blends with like, but there's a little a caveat for that. So what I mean by that is like texture blends with like texture. So it's helpful if you're using a powder highlight, for example, or a powder blush, and you've used a cream or liquid foundation, to apply a little bit of setting powder first, because powders are going to blend more easily with other powders. And then if you're using cream products like a cream highlight or blush and you've used a powder foundation, that might be an awkward mix. The caveat is that this rule only applies when it needs to. So for example, if you don't have any issues when you're blending certain powder products on top of certain cream products, then don't worry about it and feel like you need to worry about another step. However, if you find that your blush application, bronzer, highlight, whatever, is splotchy and you used a liquid or cream foundation and you're applying powders, go ahead and try putting a little barrier powder, like a setting powder like RCMA, in between, and that can really, really help. I'm wearing the Kogan Do Aqua foundation, surprise. And I know that this particular highlight doesn't have a ton of grip, so I don't feel the need to apply anything in between. I can just go straight in. So I'm gonna use this fan brush, and I'm just going to tap it into the powder a little bit, and I'm just going to swipe it onto my cheekbone and up into the brow a little bit. So just a comparison, nothing on this side, and then I have the Fenty Diamond Bomb on this side. For creams and liquids, you really have three options for tools: fingers, brushes, and sponges. And just like with powders, I make my decision based off of how strong of a color payoff I'm looking for and what the size of the area that I want to highlight is. So I'm going to use the Salt Radiant Cream Tint, made by me. And I'm going to start out with using Warm Tan, which is like slightly darker than my skin tone, and I use this really as like a finish adjuster. So I'm going to use a relatively large buffing brush because I want to adjust the finish in a larger area of my face. Because this color is so close to my skin tone, I know that it's not going to be doing something really dramatic. It's going to be subtle and soft, and therefore I can apply it to more of my face and make more of my face look like a glistening mermaid. So I'm just pressing the brush into Warm Tan and then applying that in kind of a soft tapping motion all along my greater cheekbone area, up along my brow a little bit as well, not quite to the hairline, but just kind of around the side of my face. So hopefully you can see that even compared to just a few moments ago, there's a sheen that was not present prior. I chose that brush because it was a good size for the area that I wanted to cover. It had a nice density, so I knew I could tap the product in and it would show up. With a product like this that is relatively sheer, I wanted to make sure that I was like doing something. And it was in front of me because I already used it for my bronzer. I also could have used a sponge, but when it comes to sponges versus brushes, I think that sponges work a little better for liquids as opposed to creams, just because creams are denser and sponges are pretty absorbent, and so sometimes it's just a very subtle application unless you're using just like the tip of the sponge to apply something that's pretty pigmented. Sponges obviously are a little more absorbent than brushes. Brushes and sponges both are more absorbent than fingers, so fingers probably have the most direct and strong application for liquids and creams because you're basically just stamping it on. Your finger's not going to really be absorbing anything. But fingers actually are my favorite application tool for when I'm doing the more precise placement with an actual highlighting highlight. So the warm tan shade is more of a luminizing highlight, finish adjustment. If I really want to place something that is in fact lighter and is going to add that element of bringing part of my face forward, then fingers are my favorite. The warmth and the precision that you get from using your own hands, I feel like it's just the best. So now I'm going to highlight with my finger and the color beige, which is a little bit lighter than my skin. If I wanted to be a little more dramatic, then I could use pearl, which is a few steps lighter than that one. So just rubbing my finger in that. And then I'm just going to touch it along. Okay, and before I blend it, I'm gonna like let you see. Touch it along my cheekbone. Just kind of tap and press up into the brow a little bit. And I'm also gonna take that color and put it a little bit on my Cupid's bow and center of my bottom lip. So you can see her there. Hello, hello miss. And there. And now I'll blend it in with a clean finger. I personally don't like putting shimmery highlights on the nose. That's just me. Another thing I could do would be take a little eyeshadow brush and put it right in this corner or just right along the edge of beneath the brow. I am very strategic with this because I think if you put a lot of shimmer right here, it's actually not super flattering. But if you take a thin brush and just kind of almost like gently outline the brow, it looks really lovely. Only reason I'm not doing it right now is that I don't have a brush for that in front of me and I don't want to stand up. So one more little side by side. This is the Fenty Diamond Bomb and this is the Salt Radiant Cream Tint. I'm going to apply a little blush really quick to just finish off my makeup and then come back and keep talking to you. One other thing I wanted to mention is what occasion are you applying this highlight for? Because an important thing to keep in mind is that highlight reads really differently in different lighting environments. So I'm showing you here, this is a video setting. I've got soft umbrella lights and this is how these highlights appear in this setting. Now I'm going to insert some photos of this same makeup in different lighting scenarios and talk about how that affects you in your life. Hello, so here we have a nice close-up of my beautiful friend Chloe, who, fun fact, I met because I subletted my apartment to her on Craigslist, and then we just hit it off. You really never know where you're gonna find love, am I right? I'll skip straight to the point and then show you some examples. Basically, direct light, strobe lights like from a flash are going to intensify your highlight and potentially look sweaty if the application placement has gone awry or just been heavy-handed, whereas diffused light, ambient light, is going to be softer and allow you to safely, sweat-freely wear more highlight. So in this photo, she's wearing the exact same highlight as me. We wear the same foundation base, and she's got Salt Radiant Cream Tint in warm tan in a broader area along her cheekbone and brow, and then beige in a more concentrated application. Same thing that I did. And she's outdoors on a sunny day, but not in direct light. Her skin looks healthy. You can see that the glow is there, but it's not overwhelming. Here she is now standing in direct sunlight. Obviously, the reflective particles in her highlight are catching that sunlight in a much more pronounced way. I do not recommend that you play a drinking game with how many times I say the word light and highlight in this video because you will get alcohol poisoning, so this is my warning. Now we've stepped indoors and she is by a window on that same sunny day, so she looks lovely. Everything's more diffused. Honestly, a big takeaway from really any video tutorial you could watch about makeup is just always position yourself near a window on a sunny day. It's gonna look great. Now she's sitting in the same spot. I've just turned on the flash and obviously it's catching the highlight way more. And here I've had her turn her head just so that it's just a direct hit straight into the highlight, and you can see how much more pronounced that is. This is going to be intensified further if you're in a dark space. So for example, if you're going to a club or a room that is dark for whatever reason, and you're taking flash photography, that's going to be extremely dramatic because there's not a lot of ambient light. So the contrast between the rest of your face and the part of your face that has metallic pigment on it will be significant. So think about where you're going to be going, what kind of photographic capture process will happen to you before you, put a luminous foundation and a highlight all over your whole entire face. Or don't, and do what makes you happy in the end. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to go check out the pre-sale for the palette mini and the cream tints that I used today. You can bundle them together for free shipping plus a 50% off discount. Only right now for pre-order. Zero waste, cruelty-free, vegan, inclusive shade range, female owned by this female. Hop on over to our website, saltnewyork.com, link in the description box, link everywhere, link tattooed on my face soon probably. You can also subscribe if you want to, like if you really want to, and like this video. Leave a comment with what other types of videos you want to see, and I will see you soon for the part 2 where I go over color highlights with a special guest. All right, see you later. Have a good day. Bye.